Let's start with something surprising. While most people equate wealth with success, Indonesia has quietly become a leader in overall well-being. How did that happen?
Today's date is May 14th, 2025. Let's get right into this. Indonesia, which isn't among the world's richest countries, is now ranked as the most flourishing nation on Earth. That's quite a shift from what we usually hear. But what exactly did the Global Flourishing Study look at?
Good point. The Global Flourishing Study, which was a collaboration between Harvard, Baylor, and Gallup, surveyed more than 200,000 people across 23 countries from 2022 to 2024. But instead of just looking at things like GDP or income, they focused on 5 areas: happiness and life satisfaction, mental and physical health, meaning and purpose, character and virtue, and close social relationships.
So rather than just asking about money, they asked questions like, are you happy? Are you healthy? Do you have close relationships?
Exactly. And here's the unexpected part. Indonesia scored 8.47 out of 10 across these 5 areas. That puts it ahead of countries like Mexico, the Philippines, Israel, and Nigeria. The US came in 15th, and Japan, despite its economic strength, was at the bottom.
Wait, Japan was last? That really stands out. Why is a country like Indonesia, often called stuck in the middle income trap, doing so much better than Japan or even the US? What's happening underneath all this?
It really comes down to things money can't buy. The study found Indonesians have strong social ties and community values. They scored particularly high in relationships and what the study called pro-social traits, things like trust, helping others, and spending regular time together. In Japan, by comparison, people were least likely to say they had an intimate friend.
So, this really suggests there's a gap between wealth and well-being. Does having more money actually lead to more happiness or meaning? Or not?
The data says no. Even when the rankings included financial factors, only a few countries changed spots. Like Israel and Mexico swapped places, and Poland joined the top 5. But Indonesia stayed near the top, and Japan stayed at the bottom. It looks like social bonds matter more than income.
Let's get concrete. What is it in Indonesia's culture that supports this? I've heard the term gotong royong. How does that show up in everyday life?
Gotong royong means mutual cooperation. It's a core value. In practice, it means neighbors help each other with things like cleaning streets, building houses, or organizing community events. And this isn't just once in a while. It happens regularly and is simply expected. It shapes daily life. If you compare that to Japan, for example, people there work long hours and often don't have the time or energy for these kinds of connections.
What about religion? Indonesia is the largest Muslim-majority country. Does communal prayer or religious activity make a difference here?
Yes, it does. Religious practices, prayers, festivals, acts of charity bring people together. They provide structure, not just for spiritual life, but also for real-world support. And this isn't unique to Indonesia. The Philippines, which is mostly Catholic, and Mexico, with its Catholic and indigenous traditions, both use religion to strengthen community. Israel is similar, with communal life built around faith and tradition.
So the study found that countries with strong social and religious communities seem to flourish more. Where does that leave wealthier countries with lower scores? What options do they have to catch up?
It comes down to choices in policy and design. First, cities can be redesigned to help people connect. Think more parks, plazas, and community centers. Second, workplaces can allow more time for relationships by offering shorter hours, flexible schedules, or family leave. Third, schools can teach character and relationship skills, not just academics. And fourth, there can be programs to reduce loneliness, especially for older people.
That covers a lot. City planning, Work, education, direct support. Does this suggest that if economic growth comes at the cost of social bonds, it could actually reduce well-being?
That's what the data is pointing to. Economic success matters, but it isn't enough by itself. If growth weakens social connections, societies can end up less happy and less healthy. The real challenge is to find a balance.
Do you think more countries will start shifting their focus? Or are we still too focused on measuring GDP above everything else?
That's really the big question. The Global Flourishing Study challenges us to rethink what we measure. If economic growth doesn't lead to a better, more connected, and meaningful life, maybe we need to reconsider our priorities.
If Indonesia can lead in well-being without being the richest, maybe it's time we all reconsider what success means.
Agreed. Thanks for coming with us on this exploration of what it means for societies to truly thrive.
Thanks for listening. Next time you hear about a country's GDP, ask yourself, does that tell the whole story? We'll see you next time.